This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie and our show review, and what we're getting into next. We are your hosts,
Cheryl
and Jay.
This week we have another movie, so we're 2 for 2 having movies. But it wasn't a very popular movie, so we'll see how it goes. I do have a small bits of trivia that you're probably going to know, but we'll go with it. So Aldous Hodge plays a character called Alex in the movie Parallel. What other character is he going to be playing called Alex? Maybe you don't know.
From Along Came a Spider?
Oh, I think you're close. I think that's the same thing. He's going to play Alex Cross in the Amazon Prime series.
That's from this. So they're making a series about that?
Yeah, it's called... So
it's going to be Morgan Freeman.
It's based on a James Patterson series of movies. So those were all of the...
Along Came a Spider.
Yes.
There's like 3 other ones with Morgan Freeman. And then that awful Tyler Perry one.
Oh, that was when Tyler Perry was trying to be serious that one time.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the name of it. Oh, that's...
With Cicely Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Aldous Hodge next... I don't know if it's... I heard about it, but I haven't heard anything else about it when it was first announced. It was announced in October 2022. So that was almost a year and a half ago. So yes, he will be playing another character called Alex coming up here shortly.
Oh, that's fun.
Sweet. All right, let's get into our episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. So our agenda for the week, we have 3 new movies that we hadn't previously known about. They got announced this week. We have 2 movies in the trailer park, and then we have quite a bit of quick bits for this episode. Okay, so first movie announcement that we got was about Watch Dogs, the movie. This was via Deadline. This is going to be based off a very popular video game. This stars an actress from the main actress from Talk to Me, from the A24 horror movies.
Yeah, Sophia Wilde. She's an Australian actress.
Okay. I didn't know she was Australian.
Yeah, Talk to Me is an Australian movie.
Oh, didn't know.
Takes place in Australia.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
So this is the first I've heard of this, but as we have said in several other episodes, video game adaptations are the new thing, and this is no exception.
Yeah, because they're taking video games that are already franchised video games so that they can plan multiple movies around them.
Okay. This says that this will be directed by acclaimed French genre director. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Mathieu Tourou. I might be butchering that. Okay. Let's see. There's not many other details. It says that the plot details are being kept under wraps, but it's based on a video game, so I feel like we kind of already knew.
So the video game is about this guy who is a hacker.
Right.
He's like a Snowden type hacker. But his niece was killed.
Oh, is that what happened?
In the game, in the story. His niece was killed, and he uses his hacking skills to take revenge on the people responsible for it.
Okay. It says the antagonists are usually corrupt companies, crime bosses, rival hackers who take advantage of central operating system. And then there's some fictional computing network that connects every device in the city, AI. So this is going to be AI centered, I'm sure.
This took place before AI.
This is old. I don't remember how old Watch Dogs is, but it's pretty old.
Yeah, it's very old. The first one came out in 2014.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, at least they're picking something that's not recent, but I don't know what new video games out that they would make into movies anyway. They usually pick something that's got a fan base.
Ghost of Tsushima is being made a movie by Chad Stahelski.
And that's pretty new. Okay.
And people are rediscovering Ghost of Tsushima because of Shogun.
Yes, which is on my watch list because Shogun is the most watched Hulu premiere or series since The Bear.
Yeah. And you also see that they're not doing a season 2?
I think the writers or the creators said that it's not meant to be like a series, like a full series.
Yeah, they adapted the source material and they said they're done.
Right.
We're not expanding on it, which is a smart choice.
Right, which is fair. Like, don't make up something especially if you don't have source material to go off of it, because then you're kind of in the weeds.
Right.
I think Game of Thrones ran into that.
If it's good, I said I was going to get it on physical if they're not going to ever do another, if it's not going to continue.
Now, does Hulu... Now, I know Disney is starting to put some of the Disney Plus shows and some of the Star Wars shows on DVD. Does Hulu do that?
Well, the show comes on FX and then goes to Hulu.
Okay.
And FX shows like Sons of Anarchy and
You're
stuff,
right.
those
They'll
have physical releases.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So, yeah, as more comes out about this, I'm excited that she's getting more work. She seems to be, Talk to Me was like pretty popular.
Yeah.
So,
it was like cost $4 to make.
Although it's also interesting that the main protagonist in this game is male. So it seems like that is at least one plot point they're changing.
Yeah,
I'm assuming she's the lead.
Yeah, the original protagonist is a white guy, older white guy.
Right.
So if she's the lead, then they're switching it to like a younger black Australian.
I
wonder
like it.
if it's going to take place in Australia.
Huh. This is the kind of movie you can kind of set anywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like
She's just got a very distinctive accent.
Yeah. Extraction. It could be like Extraction, where Extraction is every...
She's got like where Chris Hemsworth can't hide his accent. It's the same for her.
I like that he doesn't try either. He's just like, this is what it is. All right. So that is all that we have about that. Soon to come, I have a feeling it's going to be it's going to be talked about for sure. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, people are going to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll see. Watch Dogs, unfortunately, had 4 games, and the only good one was the first one.
Oh.
So... The other, every game that came after that was
I wonder why they
panned by critics in the audience.
I wonder why they picked this to adapt.
The idea from the first one was good.
Okay.
The second and the third one, they tried to incorporate too many Grand Theft Auto things, and it stopped being serious and started being too goofy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next new movie news that we got was for a movie called The Black Bag. This is also via Deadline. This is supposed to be a spy thriller directed by Steven Soderbergh. And Steven Soderbergh is known for Ocean's 12, also Ocean's 11, Aaron Brockovich, Ocean's 13, Contagion. I remember Contagion.
Contagion came out a while ago, but it blew back up as soon as the COVID shutdowns hit because of its accuracy.
Yes. Magic Mike The Last Dance is probably his most known recent movie. He also did a movie called Presence. This looks like this is from Neon, which is a smaller independent film. So he's got quite a bit of a track record. This film is also going to star Regé. Is that how you say that?
Regé-Jean Page.
Okay. Yeah. See, this is why you are here to help me stop butchering people's name. Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. So it's cast is sounding good. Director is sounding good. It's a spy thriller. So we already got that working for us. And that is all we know about this movie. When this came out, they made it seem like, say his name again?
Regé-Jean Page.
Regé-Jean Page was added to the cast, and it made it seem like there was already an announcement about this movie, but I previously had not heard about it. So
no, it's interesting though that it's a spy thriller. Is Regé-Jean Page the main character?
They made it seem like they're like these 3 are like the leads of this movie.
It's funny that he's doing a different spy thriller because people were throwing his hat in the ring for James Bond. Mm-hmm.
I could see... Now, I didn't see him in Bridgerton, but I did. The only thing I've actually ever seen him in was Dungeons and Dragons. But I liked him enough to say I would watch him as Bond, I think.
I mean, it's Bond. I don't think Bond is a hard role to play.
But the Bond fans are like very particular. Remember when Daniel Craig got cast as Bond?
I think the
and
Bond
they were
fans
like,
are particular about the way Bond looks. He's supposed to be a white guy with dark hair. So when they
dashing and daring and all that jazz.
So when they casted Daniel Craig, their main complaint was that he was blonde.
I think he had blonde and blue eyes.
Yeah, blonde and blue eyes. James Bond is supposed to be like standard white, dark hair.
Yeah, and dark eyes.
Like Pierce Brosnan.
Exactly.
And everybody that played before him. But I mean, the things about the James Bond movies that make them good is the story. And the side characters. The Ralph Fiennes, Naomi Campbell. Moneypenny.
Yep.
Anybody can play James Bond. That's why many different people have.
Listen, I hate to say it, I would like him as James Bond, but I know that people are going to scream to the top of their voice, you can't have a black James Bond and
they
make
can
a
have
different
Aaron
movie.
Taylor Johnson then and Seethe.
What was I say? I mean, we'll see how Craven turns out before we try to put that man in the James Bond movie.
Right.
Regé was also in The Gray Man on Netflix, but I didn't see that either. Sounds good. Cast sounds good. We'll see when it comes out.
Yeah.
All right. And the third movie announcement we got for a new movie is for a movie called Mercy. This stars Rebecca Ferguson and Chris Pratt. Rebecca Ferguson is just coming off of the success of Dune Part 2, which we reviewed in our last episode. Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt is about to have Garfield come out, and at the end of Garfield is coming out the same time as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I believe. So that is coming out soon. Interesting pairing. However, I'm not. Also, this movie, once again, it's newly announced, so we don't have a plot, but it's also another spy thriller. So we're getting a spy thriller series of movies popping up. This is going to be coming out by Amazon MGM Studios, but it will have a theatrical release and not. It doesn't sound like it's going to streaming, because Amazon movies, you can either, obviously they own Prime, you can either go straight to streaming or they send it to. It does like the normal movie release where it goes to theaters first. So this sounds like it's going to go to theaters. Not much is known about the plot. I'm curious of the casting here. Like, is Rebecca and Chris like opposites? Are they on the same side?
I don't know, because Rebecca Ferguson is at least 3 tiers of an actor higher than Chris Pratt is. As far as ability. And
Rebecca Ferguson is familiar with spy thrillers because she was also the best part of the last few Mission Impossible movies.
Was like the best side character of the franchise of
right.
Mission
And
Impossible.
Chris Pratt did that. Oh, this is funny. He also did that Amazon spy movie that I did not watch.
I don't think anybody saw that. He did that.
But didn't it get a sequel? We don't even know what it's called.
He did that day after. He did that Edge of Tomorrow
type movie,
copycat movie, with the aliens and the time loops.
I wanted to see it, but I just never got around to it.
No,
so that just must mean I didn't care about it.
And outside of that, he's done Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, which is over. But I'm sure he's going to do the next Mario.
Oh, he's absolutely tomorrow. I was trying to think of what other serious movies that he's had besides the Amazon movie we can't think of.
I don't think any.
I'm looking. Passengers, Magnificent Seven. I don't know if we count Jurassic Park as serious or not.
No.
Zero Dark 30.
Everybody hated his character in Passengers.
Oh, because, I'm not going to spoil it. But the way I read it, I was like, oof, this ain't good. The Tomorrow War. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
The Amazon movie. So
Edge of Tomorrow.
I think I didn't realize they both had Tomorrow in it. I think it is getting a sequel though. I'm not sure. Maybe once the sequel's in development. Maybe if the sequel comes out, I'll watch them both together. So that's all we have for new movie news. Next we'll go to the trailer park. You want to do
Sure.
trailers?
So the first trailer we have is for a Netflix series that's coming out April 4th called Ripley. It is a series remake of The Talented Mr. Ripley, which came out in 1999.
Oh, wow. Is it that long ago?
It is 25 years old.
Oof.
Which the original Talented Mr. Ripley starred Matt Damon, Jude Law, Cate Blanchett, again, Gwyneth Paltrow, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Jack Davenport.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people. That came out in 1999. This is going to be coming out in 2004, and it's going to star Andrew Scott as
Mr. Right.
As
I was about to call
Ripley.
him the Mr. Talented.
Yeah. It's going to star Andrew Scott as Tom Ripley, Johnny Flynn as Dickie Greenleaf. Tom Ripley was Matt Damon's character. Dickie Greenleaf was Jude Law's character. And Dakota Fanning will be playing Marge Sherwood, which was Gwyneth Paltrow's character.
Right.
There's nobody on the current cast list that is listed to play Cate Blanchett's character.
Okay. Who was the person who fell in love with Tom, who thought he was Jude Law, right?
Yeah, she didn't know who Dickie Greenleaf was, but she thought that Matt Damon was Dickie Greenleaf.
Right.
And she was in love with him.
Right, exactly. Yep.
And also John Malkovich will be starring in this as well.
I didn't see him in the trailer. The trailer is kind of if you've seen the original Talented Mr. Ripley, you'll be like, this looks like the same people doing the same thing. It's a series, so it sounds like they're going to draw out whatever the main storyline is going to be. There's, of course, murder and deceits and espionage type moving around. One thing that threw me off is the whole trailer is in black and white.
Yeah.
Does that mean do we know that the whole movie is going to be in black and white?
I think they're doing that because it takes place, because the timeline is set in, the original movie took place in 1958.
Okay.
And they're doing it again
like
in the 60s, but making it black and white because of the time period.
I don't know if I want to watch a whole thing in black and white.
No.
I will say that this didn't cause...
well shot.
Yes,
the cinematography looks good.
Mm-hmm, it looks good. I don't know how interested I am in this, though, because the trailer didn't really sell me, per se. I don't know if I want to watch a whole series of this versus a movie where, we got a beginning, middle, end, and we kind of wrap it up.
So I just watched The Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Mm-hmm. And it's still so good.
Yeah.
It's still like... Talented Mr. Ripley is almost a perfect film as far as cast, as far as acting, as far as pacing, and tension.
It holds up still.
And it wasn't a thriller; it was a drama. But because Matt Damon's character was so sketchy, that's what kept you on the edge of your seat, because he was so sketchy and unpredictable. It's watching somebody be caught in a really bad lie.
They did a good job of building the tension of you don't know what's about to happen next.
Right, because and the reason the movie was so good is because you watch him kind of tell a lie,
right,
and then he has to tell another lie to cover that lie, and eventually
you're just wondering when he gonna get caught.
Yeah, right. And eventually it just becomes uncontrollable. So that's what was the tension in that movie. This is unnecessary, and
it's an interesting thing to adapt, knowing that the original is so. This is where you run into trouble, where you pick something that was so good, the original was so good, and then you adapt it, and you need to be just as good or better, because everybody's gonna compare it.
The thing is, nobody in this cast beats that original cast.
No,
nobody. And if you're gonna make a remake, don't make it worse, because then you make it there's no point in watching it.
Right. I would say that's why you need to be just as good or better, because people are going to be like, not worth my time. Don't rank up. The word of mouth's not going to be good regardless.
Yeah, you're making it a show. So you're making it 8 episodes.
You're already... You're
8 episodes of a movie that was... How long was The Talented Mr.
It probably
Ripley?
wasn't more than 2.5 hours.
139 minutes.
So 2 hours and
19 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're making it in 8... And you're making it in...
it's probably an hour each.
An hour each.
So 8 hours.
Yeah. So you're making it an 8-hour series.
You're stretching a movie that... through almost 4 times,
which won't be as good as the original. So you're asking people to watch a worse version of something.
We don't know. It might be good.
Longer. Andrew Scott is not a better actor than Matt Damon or Jude Law.
Well, I'm talking about in terms of the writing. It may still be good.
It's the same. It's literally they said it's going to be a pull from the original crime novel, The Talented Mr. Ripley, that the original movie was based off of.
So maybe they're going to flesh out more from the book to make it into a series, because there's no way you could stretch the original movie out that far.
Maybe, but it seems like throughout the whole series, Andrew Scott is supposed to be scary.
It's giving he should be like intimidating.
A psychopath,
yeah,
and Ripley wasn't supposed to be intimidating. That was why he was. That's why he was so able to do everything he did, because he wasn't intimidating. Nobody was freaked out by him until the end, when Gwyneth Paltrow kind of figured out
it's not giving dashing and daring.
Yeah, it's giving
crazy psychotic.
He looks like Joe from You.
Yeah,
and Joe from You looks like a creep.
He does, especially with the hair.
Yeah, he looks sketchy and dangerous.
So the premise is, in 1960s New York, Tom Ripley is hired by a wealthy man to convince his wayward son to return home from Italy. But Tom's introduction to Dickie Greenleaf's leisurely life abroad is the first step into a complex life of deceit, fraud, and murder.
That's exactly what happened in the movie.
Interesting.
His dad came, hired him to go get his son.
Yeah.
And then he ended up murdering him and assuming
his life. Right.
Yeah. And Cate Blanchett, it was just so good. It was so good. Because, the scene when... I'm going into a Talented Mr. Ripley tangent.
It's related. It's related.
The scene where when he's killed Jude Law... And he's been writing letters to Gwyneth Paltrow, like he's Jude Law abroad traveling. And then he runs into Gwyneth Paltrow, having lunch with somebody. And she asks him about him. And he's like, oh, he's, how he is. He's just out and about. And then Cate Blanchett is literally walking down the street. And then he has to run off and hide.
Right, because she won't notice him.
Cate Blanchett meets Gwyneth Paltrow, and they talk and introduce to each other, and they both find out they know who Dickie Greenleaf is, but they have no idea they're talking about a different person.
Right, two different, because she thinks it's Matt Damon, and Gwyneth Paltrow like, no, that's Jude Law.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, so it says it was shot in...
And this show looks like it's going to be focused more on the investigation. Like, it's already happened.
Of Ripley.
Yeah, like they've already found, like in the original movie, they didn't find Dickie's body until like the third half of the movie.
Okay.
And then that's when everybody knew he was dead, but they didn't know how. And it seems like the whole show is going to be about, they've already found Dickie Greenleaf's body. And now
because Gwyneth or Dakota Fanning is like, she's by herself.
Right.
And it looks like she's trying to get to the bottom of things.
And he didn't get caught in the original movie. Yeah, and it's
he probably won't get caught in this either. You can't change it that much.
Yeah, in the original movie, they kind of just
he just had to live with the stuck life that he created for himself.
In the original movie, the dad, it's kind of implied that the dad knows that he killed his son, but because his son had so much like bad background,
right?
He like paid him off with his son's inheritance and said, "Just don't mention it. We'll also we'll also make sure Gwyneth Paltrow, who also knows you're the killer, doesn't say anything."
Right.
And he kind of just got off semi-scot-free. He had to kill his lover dude in the end.
Right.
Because Cate Blanchett ended up being on the same boat he was on.
Said one of y'all got to go.
Yeah.
So it says, yes, the black and white fits the story and it's gorgeous. So it does sound like the whole thing will be in black and white.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll be coming out here in less than a month. So it is on Netflix. So Netflix kind of picks and chooses how it wants to promote its own stuff. So we'll see if people actually tune into this and what type of reception that it gets.
If people tune into it and we cover it, we should do a comparison.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one.
Original and this.
We got to commit to 8 episodes, though.
Let's see.
Okay. Next trailer that we got was for Wild Robot. This is Illumination? I think this is Illumination. It's animated.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the last. No, it's DreamWorks.
Okay.
And this is the last in-house thing the DreamWorks made before they were completely assimilated.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is coming out this year, September 20th. The voice cast include Lupita Nyong'o is the robot, or Roz. It looks like her robot and it has a name, Roz. Pedro Pascal is Fink. Catherine O'Hara is Pinktail. Bill Nye, is Longneck. The picture that they have of him, I'm like, haha, I like him.
He's David Jones.
Right. Kit Connor is Bright Bill, and Stephanie Shu is Vantra. So one thing, the only character that actually talks, quote unquote, in this whole trailer is Lupita. So I don't know who these other people are in the trailer. It also says that Mark Hamill and Vin Rames are also on this cast list. Oh, so stacked voice cast. Animation looks good. It's giving plot, story, tearjerker. It's giving. What's the one that everybody like says is so good, but they cry?
WALL-E?
Yes,
yeah,
which I have
that's what I thought of.
Which I have not seen because people say it makes them cry, and I'm like, nope, I don't want it.
Yeah,
but it looks good.
It looks good. The visuals look good. I probably won't see this because I'm out of my animation phase.
I think I do want to see it because the trailer, it looks like it's going to be one of those full story, like learning about stuff, and I'm not trying to compare it to Frozen. I haven't seen WALL-E. I'm trying to think of something I can compare it to.
WALL-E.
I ain't seen WALL-E though.
It seems like WALL-E with more nature. Yeah,
because so the premise of what the trailer spells out is that this robot gets maybe dropped by accident in the middle of this rainforest or forest or whatever, and she has to navigate her way around because she's a robot and presumably she's never been in nature. Actually, let me just read. The epic journey follows the journey of robot Rosem Unit 1731, ROS for short, that is shipwrecked on an uninhabited island and must learn to adapt to the harsh surroundings, gradually building relationships with the animals on the island and becoming the adoptive parent of an orphaned gosling. Okay. Yeah. So in the trailer, you kind of see her saving different animals in different horrible situations. There's a wildfire. I'm like, that's gonna be sad. There's some animals stuck in the middle of the ocean. I'm like, that's gonna be sad. The final shot is of what it looks like birds migrating, and she's trying to run to catch it with the birds, but she can't fly because she's a robot. And she looks real sad. I'm like, man, this is gonna be a tear. Tissues, y'all. You're gonna need tissues, but I think it'll be a hit with the kids.
Yeah, somebody will have to tell me how it is.
Okay, I'm trying to see. The director is Chris Sanders, who's known for Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, The Croods, and what's another one? Mulan. Oh no, he was a story supervisor for the original Mulan. Okay.
So two things that I
Lion King, he was a production designer. So
Mulan, and you said he did what else?
Mulan, he was involved with the Lion King as a production designer. How to Train Your Dragon, he directed. The Croods, he directed.
Lilo and Stitch. So Mulan and Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch, he was the director for Lilo and Stitch.
I heard a lot of people really like How to Train Your Dragon. So
it's quite popular.
That's a popular one for them.
There's actually, I think, they're doing a live adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, and they're doing they're adding that world to Universal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he got a good track record. It looks good. It will be a fall. Oh, this is not Labor Day. So it's going to come out after Labor Day. I thought they were going to try to do a Labor Day hit. But, all right. That's it for trailers. All right. Next, we are getting to quick bits. You want to hit us with this one?
Sure. Filming has begun on Final Destination 6, which is set to release in 2025. I heard that the tagline is supposed to be Final Destination Bloodlines.
I've heard that too.
Which is stupid. Because
it's obviously family,
so
right?
So now death design is to target the relatives of previous people who have died.
I don't like that.
That means death doesn't have a design. That means death is Ghostface.
Well, I was going to say, or death changes its design based on the time period.
Death has a personal design against these people.
Don't like. Yeah,
it's going to make a bunch of money because Final Destination is known for creative.
People I think it's been too long.
Cultural impact Final Destination has affected the way people look at roller coasters, tanning beds,
driving on a highway with a truck bed with tree trunks on them,
being on planes. Period. So it's done too many things. Getting sucked up by escalators.
You know what? I'm trying to think of when I dropped off Final Destination. I don't feel like I made it past 3.
After they killed Clear Rivers.
Yeah. So we don't spoil previous Final Destinations in this chat. The last one I saw was at the end. They made the connection that that movie was connected to the first one.
That was the second to last one.
Oh gosh. So I've seen more than what I thought. So I've seen 4. Dang.
Was that the second to last one? I feel like they made another one after they did the one with the family with the connection
because at the very end you realize that group of teenagers took place at the same time as the first movie. Let me see.
Yeah, it ended where the last one ended where the survivors of that film ended up on Flight 180.
Yes, exactly.
While the original cast was being escorted off or freaking out.
Right. They were getting off, and the other cast was getting on. Let's see. Final Destination 5 came out in 2011, so maybe I have seen all of them. 2 weeks later, Sam and Molly board a plane to Paris. So yes, I did see 5. I've seen all of these. Yeah. I can't even be like, I fell off of this. I didn't.
I've seen them, but I did my interest. After the second one, it just glazed over because.
Oh, you're right.
They ran out of ideas. I mean, they came up with new ways to kill people, but they ran out of ideas.
Like storyline wise, yes.
Every movie is about them trying to stop death's design, and it's like you can't. You're all going to die
anyway. No matter
every single one of you.
No matter how you try to do it.
So this is going to end up the exact same.
I'm trying to see if the plot. There's not much of a plot. Just says supernatural horror.
You don't need to know the plot of Final Destination.
I was just trying to see if they were going to tell us what the heck Bloodlines meant. Reimagining of the franchise. No, it doesn't say. It just. None of the other ones had taglines, so they literally should have just left that part alone.
Yeah. Other than Tony Todd, everybody's dead. So he's the only person left to kill. But I feel like he's not going to die. He is actually death. So
okay, whatever. Sure.
I mean, because he's weird and he's the one. Right. He always understands that they have premonitions. He's the one that fills them in on death's design. So it could be he's like the boogeyman or something.
But he's not going to die in this though.
I don't know.
Interesting.
No, they're not going to kill Tony.
Oh, hold on. So the casting of Tony Todd he signed on in September 2023. It says the film will explore the character's backstory.
So they're going to explain that he's death. And it's his design.
I think you might have just called it.
Because there's no way he could have also avoided death. I
But
guess he could have avoided
He's never
death.
been in any of the situations, though. He just shows up,
He
right?
doesn't, but every movie he shows up to give them the rules and tell them how they can beat death.
Right.
But then they don't because they all end up dying. So he lies to them and they all end up dying anyway. So
Right. Interesting. I need a trailer just to see what this is hitting for.
Yeah, the trailer's going to do numbers. People are absolutely going to go see this.
It is a WB production, so hopefully it makes it out of the studio into the film because they are known for writing off movies for tax purposes.
This is going to be one of those things like it's a resurgence movie.
Yeah.
Like when
yeah.
they finally did Scream 5 after it being so long from Scream 1 and then the people who were already fans wanted to see it, and then the new younger generation who haven't seen a single Final Destination got all over YouTube and they started watching it for the first time.
Yeah. For sure. So one of the directors of the film, Kim Possible in 2019 is probably his most popular movie. The other, he's also an actor, so that's interesting. The other director has not made like a full feature film, it looks like. So we're in interesting hands here. That's all I have to say about that. All right. Well, I mean, like you said, it'll be a hit. At least the trailer will be highly talked about when it comes out. All right. What we got next?
Next is MAXXXINE. This is the
Speaking
third
of horror movies.
This is the third movie in the Pearl X trilogy. That is set to release July 5th in theaters
this year,
2024. It's going to star Halsey.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, she's in the. There's the only photo of MAXXXINE is.
Oh, her walking down the street.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm not familiar. I know her by name, but not by picture. So I was like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to star Halsey. That's the new character in this one. But it's going to also have Mia Goth returning as MAXXXINE slash... Well,
Pearl.
not slash Pearl. Because Pearl was... It's very weird and probably supernatural. Pearl was a completely different person than MAXXXINE. But she saw herself in MAXXXINE because they were... I think they're doppelgangers.
Okay.
They're like doppelgangers, but not clones.
Okay. So she's playing two different people in the same movie.
Yeah, because in X, MAXXXINE killed Pearl.
Okay.
Because Pearl went crazy and was trying to kill everybody for their youth.
Okay.
So Mia Goth will be returning. It's supposed to take place a year after the events of X.
Okay.
Where she escaped the farm massacre. The whole point of that movie was they went out there to shoot a porn.
Right.
But she wanted to be an actual actress.
Like a real actress in real life.
So this is supposed to be taking place a year later. She's in
Hollywood.
I think it's Vegas.
Okay.
It's on the West Coast.
Okay.
And she will be working under Giancarlo Esposito, who's supposed to be some type of like
which we predicted would be like the horrible mean guy in the movie.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like a adult film producer.
Okay.
But there is also it's going to be like a slasher this time in the vein of like Scream.
Give it to me. I can take slasher horror movies.
Yeah,
I think
Pearl was really good. X was really good. Pearl was a very different type of slasher. In the way it was shot.
Los Angeles.
So
you're right, West Coast.
Pearl was a very different type of slasher in the way it was shot. I really liked Pearl. I really liked X because it paid homage to a lot of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in films that took place in like the 80s.
So a lot of callbacks. Friday
the 13th. A lot of Crystal Lake Easter eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, I really want to see this. And Mia Goth is like a super, super good actress. She's also going to be in Blade. So that.
There should be a trailer coming out soon then.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Next quick bit, Rings of Power Season 2 is coming out this year. We don't know when this year, but some point this year. So Rings of Power, the first season, was a very hot topic. One, because I think it's the most expensive Amazon series ever made. But they got the money, so whatever. There was a lot of chatter because of the black characters that were in the movie, because black people are not allowed to be elves and goblins and ghouls, apparently.
Right.
And then there was a lot of chatter because some people liked it some people didn't like it, but it seems like everybody watched the whole thing because season 1 stands as Amazon's most watched original series, and it ranked in the Nielsen streaming charts top 4 every week of its initial run. So that means every episode was at the top of the Nielsen chart for the whole season.
Yeah.
Which means no matter what everybody felt about it, everybody was, well, not everybody, obviously. Everybody who was interested to some degree was watching this darn series.
Because of the algorithm. It was constantly trending. It was constantly popular. So even if you didn't like black people or you don't like women, if you're a content creator,
sexist or racist, but you like Lord of the Rings, you was tuning in.
Yeah, because if you're a content creator, you want to make the content that people want to see, so
right? Or talk about
watch it, which I love it.
Rings of Power, I liked it. There were a couple episodes that were kind of maybe slow in the middle. The final, I think the season finale was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
this is good.
Because Rings of Power does war and battle. Well, Lord of the Rings, the franchise as a whole, does war and battle really good. And that's how the last season kind of wrapped up. Right.
And Rings of Power season 2 was filming during the writers and actors strike, I think, because it wasn't filming in America. Mm-hmm. So there's some nervousness around how this is going to turn out because they were filming when they couldn't have writers on set. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I'm tuning in because we watched the first one. Unless the second season is like way off course from the first one, I would feel like I would still like it. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we don't have a release date. So sometime between now and December 31st, 2024, Rings of Power season 2 is coming out.
I'm excited. They screened the first episode in theaters. We went to go see.
We did. I hope they do that again.
And I hope they do that again for season 2.
It was the first one episode or first 2?
It was the first.
I think it was one.
I think it was just one episode.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we got to see the first episode in the movie theater like a film.
Yeah.
So that was cool because they got scale. They got production design.
Production is impeccable.
It's not the most expensive series for nothing.
Visual effects are really, really good.
Right. They put the money in it, and you can see it on the screen for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so next little quick bit. Karen Sony confirms that there's a lot of cameos and surprises in Deadpool and Wolverine, that is not a surprise per se because Deadpool and Wolverine is supposed to be a cameo fiesta. One person though that will not, although now that I think about it, I think he might be lying. I don't know. The actor who plays Juggernaut, Vinnie Jones, said that he was approached but declined to be in Deadpool and Wolverine because of the drama around putting on a costume. He said mentally and physically it was too much, so he said no. But I'm kind of like, are you trying to divert attention out of this? Think he really not gonna be in it, or are they gonna have Juggernaut in it and him not be in the suit? Because they could do that. They could really be like, oh, that's fine, don't worry about it, y'all. We can just motion capture somebody else.
I think he's not actually going to be in it because if you think about it, he was a Juggernaut in like the worst X-Men movie.
But he was in the last Deadpool briefly.
That was a completely different guy.
Oh, okay. So just the Juggernaut was
credits,
in it.
That Juggernaut was mostly CGI. But it was also a different actor because they had to make him. They tried to the Juggernaut in Deadpool. They made comic accurate, which is inhumanly large, like the Hulk.
Okay.
He played like a regular sized dude.
Yes, because he was just his tall, bulky self.
Yeah, so I believe him. You look at his like filmography, and he's not really like. I mean, he does like small roles in a bunch of things, but overall, I don't think he's like. If
you saw his face, you would recognize him.
I don't think being an actor is like his main source of income.
Okay. It says he's also a professional professional football player.
Right.
I was like, oh, he played football. He's fine.
He's in that gentleman show that's going on Netflix.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem like he's like acts as like his main gig.
All right.
So yeah.
All right. I mean, if you don't want to put on the suit, I guess, but a check is a check is a check. I mean, how long was he going to be in it? Like the actual movie?
Probably for like a second. And that's probably why. That's probably also
why he said it wasn't worth it.
Because people have to go into like hair and makeup and stuff for hours for some of this stuff.
But they couldn't have checked.
And
okay, yeah.
And that's why I think also because he's like, acting isn't like my main gig anyway, so I don't really have to do this.
Okay, and technically they can do the Juggernaut without him. So they were probably like, not gonna fight it.
Yeah.
All right. But there are going to be a lot of cameos and surprises in Deadpool. I hope, as I've said, we do not get spoiled. I don't know at what point it's going to be time to mute it on the Twitters and the Instagrams and the YouTubes, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a cameo feast.
The next tidbit is Cameron Diaz and Keanu Reeves are reportedly set to star in a dark comedy titled Outcome, which is directed by Jonah Hill. So
interesting trio of people.
That's an interesting trio of people. But, I mean...
Cameron Diaz, I check. Dark comedy. Keanu Reeves.
Bill and Ted.
Okay. So comedy, not dark. Check.
He does Bill and Ted. He did Matrix and John Wick. So I feel like Keanu Reeves
put all
would do
those
anything.
together.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I don't know what else Jonah Hill has ever directed.
Did he do 21 Jump Street? He directed?
I know he was in it. I don't know if he's ever directed anything. That might be the only thing I'm nervous about, is him directing a movie. I mean, I know he's been in several hits and several considered cult classics at this point, but and he had a little controversy sometime last year, I think.
So, yeah, he had like a sexual assault controversy.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, he did not direct 21 Jump Street.
So he hasn't directed anything.
He's directed a couple things, but nothing that I've heard of. Okay. Most of his credits are him actually doing actual acting or voice work in. He's done some short films. He's done some small films, one in 2018, called Mid-90s. He also he was a director and producer on a film called Stutz.
Interesting.
Which is a documentary in 2022.
Okay.
And he was a director on a TV show, Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty.
Oh, okay. Winning Time got a lot of critical acclaim, but I think it got canceled.
Yeah, it did. I don't think it had good viewership, but he directed an episode of that, and he did a couple of music videos.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, you got Cameron Diaz, you got Keanu Reeves. I feel like you already 2 for 2 there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how need a trailer. Like we always say, I need to see a trailer first.
Yeah. Dark comedy. I want to know what it's about, though.
Right.
Yeah.
How dark is dark?
And the last quick bit we have is a sad one. Famed manga creator Akira Toriyama, who is the creator of the Dragon Ball series, passed away at the age of 68 on March 1st, which was a couple days ago. It didn't get announced until
I think 2 days ago.
6th.
Yeah, a couple days ago.
Which is when it was announced. So RIP to a great. He created Dragon Ball, and I remember watching that faithfully.
Toonami.
Every
Toonami
day.
was the after school thing to do if you was watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Toonami, you got out of school at like 3:30. Yeah. And Toonami ran Cartoon Network from like 5 to 7.
Yep. It was 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. Or 5 to 8.
And it came on again at night.
It came on again at night just in case you missed it.
Right.
And it would get all of the good shows, Dragon Ball.
What's the Speed Racer?
Speed Racer.
Johnny Quest. Although Johnny Quest wasn't anime, but Johnny Quest was in that lineup. It was, I don't know. It was so many people have watched Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, Goku, Piccolo, the first black anime character, or maybe the most popular black anime character.
The black community has adopted Piccolo.
Yeah, I remember. If you Google Piccolo and he don't look like a black man, don't be alarmed.
He was America's first anime stepfather.
He is green, but he's black on the inside.
Right.
We've declared that and made that known. So yeah, very sad news in that space. The day that the news came out on Twitter, it was trending, and it was like 625,000 tweets.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Because there were...
related to it.
It was people realizing that Dragon Ball has been referenced in like everything animated and a lot of like live action stuff since it was created.
Somebody had a picture of that in Dragon Ball Z and Powerpuff Girls.
Dragon Ball Z and Powerpuff Girls. If you look at Cloud from the original Final Fantasy VII game, he's in the exact same outfit as Gohan with the purple and the red
the hair.
sash
they also
and
got
the hair.
The hair.
Yeah, I mean they did a side by side of like Killmonger and Cheetah. Yep. To show the references. Kamehameha has been referenced in literally everything. They're still putting out like the Dragon Ball game. So super deep world impact. We have lost a legend. RIP. They're also it's going to be very interesting because the Dragon Ball series is rebooting
Oh, is it?
With like a new season. They're reviving the series.
Okay.
And releasing it. So
it's probably gonna be like super duper. I mean, it's already popular, but probably gonna be super duper 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 popular.
Yeah, it's gonna blow up extremely hard now. Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up all our movie news, all our trailers, and all of our quick picks. And now we're going to get into our movie review for Parallel.
All right.
Now we're back to do our review for Parallel. This movie released February 23rd, 2024 as a very extremely couldn't hardly find limited release. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced that they just put this out in one theater in LA to say it came out in theaters because we couldn't find it nowhere. Luckily, it was on streaming a week later. So we just watched this yesterday on Amazon Prime. So it is available to stream, to rent, or buy on like Prime, YouTube, Apple, and all that jazz. So you can go watch it right now. It was directed by Kiroshi Ahari. He's previously directed a horror movie called The Night. I am not familiar with him or that movie, but he directed Parallel. The cast includes only 3 people: Daniel Deadwyler, Aldous Hodge, and Edwin Hodge. And if the Hodge, there's no coincidence there, Aldous and Edwin are brothers.
Right.
The runtime is 1 hour and 28 minutes. We have no information on budget. We also have no information on box office because it wasn't in theaters very long. And this is an independent movie, I would call it, by an independent studio. So this wasn't backed by like WB or Disney or anything like that. So
yeah, I think it was under Hodge Brothers Productions.
Right. And I think Vertical is the name of the studio that did the distribution for it. So not having budget information or box office information is not odd in this circumstance. So because it didn't have any box office, there is no cinema score. Rotten Tomatoes wise, however, there are 2 Ho critics that have reviewed this movie. One giving it a 3.5 out of 5, another giving it 4 out of 5, and then the audience score is 84. So people have seen it, and 2 of those people are us.
Yes.
I'm going to read the summary as it is on Prime because it's hard to describe without giving it away, I feel like. So I'm just going to read the synopsis. Parallel is about a grief-stricken after the loss of her child. Vanessa takes refuge at a lake house only to be met with the aberration of herself from a parallel universe and realizes the multiverse gates hold the key to releasing her grief and trapping her forever. That kind of told the whole movie.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay. And the trailer, I tried to do some Googling after we watched this to see what other people thought about it. And it is very obvious that not a lot of people have seen this movie. Mm-hmm. And I was some people were saying how the trailer actually told the whole movie. So if you're listening to this, don't watch the trailer.
Does the trailer tell the end?
No. But people felt like it gave a lot away. And this movie is only 1.5 hours, and the trailer was 2 minutes.
I feel like that's saying the trailer to Multiverse of Madness gives away the whole movie. Just because it says there's a multiverse.
Fair enough.
I mean, they can't not say it's a multiverse.
Fair enough. So yeah, go ahead and watch the trailer. But if you don't watch it, I think you'll be fine to just jump on into the movie.
Yeah, because they dive in. They give you basically the plot details in the film, like 5 minutes into the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 1.5 hours, you need to move.
You're right.
You need to move. So, due to this short cast list, do we want to talk about who we liked and didn't like?
Sure. I liked everybody.
Mm-hmm, the whole cast.
Danielle Deadwyler was great. Aldous Hodge was great. Edwin Hodge was great. There are no side characters.
There's no supporting cast.
There are no uncredited roles. There's not even any animals.
There's a bird. There's 2 birds.
Okay, so 2 birds.
Could be the same bird. I don't know.
Outside of that, there's nobody else in the film. I thought all of the acting was great.
Yes.
The line delivery was good. Everybody looked good.
Mm-hmm. So set design. Well, this is.
It takes place in like one place, like kind of like Leave the World Behind. It's a very isolated movie.
It basically takes place at the lake house and in the forest.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it. Yeah. And on the lake, there's some scenes of a lake.
Yeah, there's some scenes of a lake.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Good acting. Everybody brought their A game. Danielle is very good. I think one of my notes says she is very good at looking stressed. Is that what my note says? Yeah, she does stress very well. Okay. That's literally what my note says, because she got the facial, like the facial look, the the breathing heavy, the sweating hard, and all of that. So yeah, all the acting was goodness.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can say that's non-spoilery?
Non-spoiler notes I have. Clearly, the movie's a mystery thriller. So
yeah, I think it's a
spoiler.
It's a psychological thriller.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the elements of the mystery that made it what it was, I enjoyed.
Okay.
I enjoyed the plot of the movie. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the characters and their chemistry. Clearly, it's a multiverse, and it's only these 3 characters, so we're seeing different versions of these characters and watching them act like different people and interact differently depending on who they're supposed to be.
Yes.
I thought that was interesting, and I thought it was very well shot. I liked all of the scenes of like in the lake house, all of the scenes of like being in the forest. They do the wide shots of Danielle Detweiler when she goes to the lake
on a boat.
See, like, on the boat, and we see like really nice, beautiful wide shots of her on the lake.
Right.
I thought that was really good as well.
Not knowing the budget of this, it looks like they did well with whatever they had.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the shots could have just been used like on a drone, on like a good drone camera, and then like maybe a single cam to shoot everything else.
Right, because even though this is independent movie, you know, they probably didn't have a big old budget. It doesn't look cheap,
and there weren't very many visual effects.
Nope,
I couldn't think of other than like the bird.
Maybe the bird
was like a visual effect. I think some of the gunfire was digital.
Okay. Okay.
It just looked it looked like it was cropped on top of the picture. And not, instead of like they didn't film the gunshot, they kind of like imposed it onto it. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fair.
So I thought
Safety first.
That was okay. But yeah,
it looked good.
It looked good. Yeah,
I would say that. I didn't have any other. Let me see. Do I have?
It's on my non-spoiler notes.
Okay. Kicks off quick. That is a non-spoiler.
And it is very. The pacing kicks off very quickly.
Yeah.
It does slow down in the middle, which is understandable because they have to explain the multiverse.
Right.
You know, we get in so many multiverse movies. It's kind of like there's another podcast that we listen to that talk about whenever an EMP is used in a movie and they explain every time they explain how an EMP works.
Yes.
And I think we're entering an era where every movie has the multiverse.
It has to explain.
And they have to take the time to explain over and over again what the multiverse is.
Well, and they have to explain their version of it. Because, you know, you can do a multiverse a billion different ways, but in this movie, it works like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you have to fill the audience
some
in.
Some multiverses require powers, some magic, and this one is just this one's kind of Stephen King-esque.
Okay,
like The Mist. The Mist was the Stephen King movie where there was supernatural stuff going on because there were clearly this fog that mutated all the bugs and animals, but they laid the mystery of like,
where did it come
was
from?
this done by a government organization? We don't know.
We're not sure the origin.
We're just going to plant this seed here and never like reference it again.
That would describe this movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely describe. I do, one non-spoiler note I had or didn't have but thought of, even though we have to explain the multiverse, because you have to do that in every movie, because I'm going to come into a multiverse movie with my own thought of what I think the multiverse is, so you better explain it. They didn't do a lot of exposition. This
was about the simplest version of the multiverse I've seen in a movie.
Yes, there wasn't a whole lot of, let me run this down for 5 minutes. Kind of like in Argyle, where he just literally told everything, and they did a lot of talking instead of showing. This movie did more showing instead of trying to hand feed it to us.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that covers everything non-spoiler. We're going to get into spoilers for Parallel in 3, 2, 1. All right. What did we like and not like about this movie?
So I can go first. I liked the movie.
Okay.
I liked the plot and I liked the mystery.
Okay.
I liked the acting. I did not like the characters.
Really?
I didn't like any of the
you
characters.
Don't like how the characters acted.
And that made me not like the characters.
Okay, so
the acting was fine.
Let's do, I guess a quick, we're in spoilers, so we're going to tell so the basis of the movie is Vanessa goes into it. She's grieving the loss of her and Alex, who's played by Aldous, their son. He died a year ago. And in this, our main universe, I'll call it, he died because they got into a car accident. Alex wasn't there. It was just her and the son. The son didn't survive. So it's been a year. They're at this lake house with his brother. And I guess they're just trying to have a getaway, and the relationship between them is not good because of the son passing away. And she goes off into the woods where she seems familiar because it seems like it's a family lake house, and she gets lost, essentially. Like, she's trying to go back home, but she gets stuck in this loop of not being able to get back. And the premise of the movie is there's different universes depending on how you exit the Force. But you don't really know which one is which until you like interact with the other two people.
So the Force has what they call gates, multiple gates. And what the gates in the film are, it's basically like a tree stump that it's like a giant tree that has a split in it that you can walk through.
Right.
And every time you walk through a different split tree stump, you're entering a different gate and going into a different parallel universe. So that's what she kind of like, not paying attention, kind of walks through one.
Right. And she has this scene where she like notices that she keeps walking into the same place, and somehow she finds herself out like the first one or two times, but then another time she gets stuck.
Yeah, she kept walking through tree stumps and eventually, and then seeing another tree stump. So she kept losing her. She just got more and more lost as she kept going.
And she runs into another Alex who's also lost, and he tells her, we can help each other get back to our original universes. But you didn't like the characters because some of the choices they made leading up to, I guess, all throughout the movie. You would say you didn't like the choices they made?
Yeah, I didn't like the choices they made all throughout the movie. You
didn't like
the characters.
So Vanessa at the very, I don't know, 10 minutes in, she goes into the forest to have, she just says she needs some time alone or whatever. She's got a gun because the forest can have bears and whatnot. And she sees herself, like her full...
Well, first somebody shoots at her.
Oh, yes. Excuse me. Somebody shoots at her while she's chilling in the forest having her quiet time.
Yeah.
So she get her gun out and she hiding behind a tree, and she peers over through the scope on the gun, and it's her shooting at her. So
she fires off a shot without looking.
It hits the other
person who's shooting at her.
Yeah.
And then
which is her.
Looks and sees that it's a version of her.
Got the same outfit on.
Yeah. So she shot a different version of her in the leg, and that version of her also spots her.
Yes.
And runs off.
Yes. So they both run off to their respective universes. So the first time she doesn't get lost, but she comes and she looks, like I said, she got the look down pack of looking frazzled. Alex, her husband, is like, oh, what's going on? She's like, I saw a bear.
Yeah.
She tells nobody she doesn't tell her husband or her brother-in-law through the whole movie that she saw a replica of herself, at least for the first, I don't know, half of the movie or so.
Unforgivable.
You didn't like that.
For me, that's unforgivable.
Because she lied.
Because she lied. And maybe it's just only affects me specifically. I have a Sidney Prescott rule. I tell my friends this all the time.
Yeah.
If we are friends and somebody, and we don't even have to be friends. We could stop being friends, and you still have this obligation. But if we are friends and somebody is trying to kill you, you have to alert the people around you, because just like Sidney Prescott, they ended up killing everybody around her first before they eventually went to her. So you have to tell people in your life that something's happening to you.
So and she does this twice. So she sees herself, and then maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes, I'm not even 30 minutes, maybe 10 minutes later in the movie, she sees her brother-in-law twice in the same house. So her brother-in-law, they're at a fire pit, and her brother-in-law is trying to help clean up, and he burns his hand. So the brother-in-law goes in and says, oh, don't worry about it. I got something to clean my burn or whatever. So she goes back in the house, and she sees her brother-in-law sitting at the kitchen table having a drink.
And her brother in her universe is a recovering alcoholic.
Correct.
Who does not drink. So when she walks in the house and sees her brother-in-law
with a drink in his hand,
pouring a glass of whiskey, she's like, this is strange. You don't drink.
Right.
So he like shrugs it off and is just like, oh,
he came to some weird thing, like I just like the smell of it. Like,
yeah, which is like the standard alcoholic lie.
It's weird.
You light a candle.
Right.
They have whiskey scented candles. You don't have to pour a glass of whiskey.
Those exist. But what the kickoff was that how she finally realizes it's not the same brother is that his burned hand is healed.
It's completely scabbed over.
I think it's scabbed over, and I think it's on the opposite hand.
No, it's on the same hand. It's okay. But it's just scabbed over.
She's like, how did your burn heal so fast? And he says something like, oh, it wasn't as bad as we thought. And she's like, what? And he says, I'm just going to go take a walk. Now, mind you, it's dark.
Yes,
it's nighttime.
It's the middle of the night.
Because they were just at a fire pit situation. He leaves. She turns around, and the OG brother-in-law, whose name is Martell, I don't know if we said his name, comes walking in with his hand wrapped up. And she's like, I'm sorry, what is going on? But she doesn't say that.
It's nothing. And she that's another one of my notes.
She has this crazy, I'm stressed, I'm freaked out looked on her face. Alex is like, hey, what's going on? Something's not right. She's like, she just goes off, I think, until to go to bed or something.
Yeah, and she says nothing. You have encountered 2 clones.
Yes.
That look, because to me, my mind immediately I've seen too much horror, I've seen too much sci-fi. So my mind immediately goes to invasion. Like
somebody trying to take over.
We are being invaded by shape-shifting parasites. I need to alert my family. And her thing's just like,
I'm just going to keep it to myself.
She's
stressed out about it clearly, but she doesn't tell.
Is she?
She looks it.
She just looks stressed about the overall situation of child loss. And
okay, fair enough.
I don't think she really likes her brother-in-law like that.
Doesn't seem like it, no.
And she doesn't really want to be around her husband. So I think she's just stressed about the overall situation. I didn't get the sense that she was specifically stressed about the clones because she didn't mention them to anybody.
She did. So she goes back into the forest, and this is kind of where we get to the middle of the movie. She runs into what the movie calls Divorce Alex. So she runs into a version of her husband who's actually divorced from her. He's stuck in this forest because like her, because now she's stuck. So she goes out there. She's trying to find, whatever's been going on, but she ends up getting stuck. She runs into Alex, divorced Alex. He's also stuck. And he's been trying to find his version of his wife in the forest. So he's like, oh, we can help each other out. We can get each other back to our original stories. And then we kind of have this he also tells her that in any version of, he's been doing this for a while. And he's run into other universes also looking for his wife, looking for their son. He says in every version that he's been in, the son is either already passed away or he doesn't exist. And then we start getting to some weird scenarios where she makes it out to different universes. And then we start trying to keep track of how many different universes we're in.
Because you have to pay attention to the little details.
Much pay attention. There's one universe she goes to where there's one universe that exists where all 3 of them are happy, kikiing together and golfing. There's another universe she goes into where she wasn't in a car accident. Alex actually was. So she comes back and she's like, okay, I'm ready to tell somebody what's going on. There's clones of me. There's clones of your brother. Like, one thing we never get into the movie is about their dad and experiments, because that's briefly mentioned. But Alex is like, what are you talking about? And she's like, this is really happening. He's like, you talking crazy. You need to call your doctor. I told you need to forgive me. And she's like, what are you talking about? Because in this universe, he is the one that was in a car accident with the son, and the son didn't survive. And he's mad at her because she won't forgive him. It's like a total flip of what her current universe is. So she goes back to the forest because she's clearly not made it to the right one. There's another version of the universe where divorced Alex no longer is, and his wife is also missing. You just have to pay attention. Like, you can't go into this movie multitasking.
People in the character's choices just didn't make a lot of sense. Her refusing to mention that somebody tried to kill her.
Yes.
Even if it wasn't your doppelganger, you should tell the people, if you went out to a cabin in the woods with your family and somebody tried to kill you while you were hiking in the woods, and y'all already cut off and closed off, and this person has a gun.
Yes, so she gives divorced Alex her gun so he can go off and try to find a solution and find them their ways back home.
Right. And this person has a gun. You should let them know. And you should also super let them know if you have the added complication of the gun-wielding person looks like you. and could be you, and they should be on high alert just in case they walk into a room and think it's you, and until you pop them in the forehead.
There is one thing about the movie is that she never really seems concerned again that there's another version of her in the forest that tried to kill her.
Yeah, she was super. The one scene that I saw where she had a freak out panic attack is when she realized that she was lost in the woods. Yes. And she had to take her scarf off and mark a tree.
She tried to mark
That's when she panicked. She didn't panic when somebody tried to kill her. She was calm. When her doppelganger tried to kill her, she seemed very calm and collected and oh, this again. But when she got lost, she had the reaction that I would have expected of her.
Because she's like literally like, okay, because it starts getting dark and it starts getting real foggy, and she realized I can't find my way out of this forest.
But I liked it when they incorporated the other Alexes. So the one thing you didn't mention, the beginning of the movie, they mentioned their dad, and their dad was in the main universe. Their dad was clearly some type of physicist, a mad scientist who already knew what the multiverse was and already knew about.
And the brother seems to believe it, and Alex seems to not.
Right. So the dad had apparently abandoned his family in search of this multiverse mystery in the woods. She had ran across like chalkboard writings on his personal office, it seems, of like the parallel universes and the nexus points and whatnot.
Right.
So their family is already aware of the theory because their dad, they think he was crazy.
Right.
But their dad had clearly explored it. The divorced Alex was from a universe where he was the physicist. He was the mad scientist who discovered the parallel universe theory. So when she runs into him in the forest and they're just together, he explains like how it all works to them. And he's like, we're going to come up with a plan.
Right.
We're going to go get some fishing wire and we're going to tie the fishing wire to a tree here.
Right.
And walk into different universes, and if it's not where we belong, we're going to follow the fishing wire back, which was smart. That's what they did in Bird Box. When she lived in the woods, she used the string to lead them everywhere they needed to go in the forest. So that was smart. But come to find out, divorced Alex was not a good guy.
He was a villain.
Yeah, divorced Alex. So
technically,
divorced Alex tells her about his universe. He's like, in my universe, I'm a physicist. Our son died in a car accident.
Right.
But he didn't die immediately.
Right.
He was in a hospital for like 8 months, 6 to 8 months.
So, very long
on
time.
Life support. And he pulled the plug because he was the POA.
Right.
And the boy died. Yep. And Vanessa, his wife, divorced him.
Right.
And went into the woods and disappeared.
And
he's been out there searching for her specifically ever since then.
Right.
But in reality, he kind of just accepted the fact that he was never going to find her and that he himself was lost. Yes. So his plan was to just find a world where Vanessa was and kill that version of Alex and take his place.
Which is what he did.
Which is exactly what he did. Because she ends up finding a random dead Alex. Because
she's waiting for the divorced Alex to come back. And I think like she'd been out there for a while. So she starts walking around to the fishing wire and stumbles upon a dead Alex.
Yeah, because
divorced ring missing.
Divorced Alex didn't have a wedding ring.
Right.
But when she finds this random Alex, he has a tan line on his ring finger, which means his ring was removed. And when she runs into divorced Alex again, he's wearing the wedding band.
Right. And she gets it pretty immediately.
Yeah, because it's clear at that point.
Right.
She's like, and he was gone for much longer than he said he was going to be.
Right.
So she kind of puts it together. You killed this Alex. You're taking his place. And he's like, that's just the name of the game. I want to get out of here.
Right.
You eventually are going to have to do that yourself.
The same thing. Right. Let's get into our next point, because I think that'll lead into where we had some issues with the movie, which is what we would change if we could.
Okay.
Plot holes.
Yeah, plot
everywhere. There are plot holes. I will also agree that the movie was good and I enjoyed it, and I think I would recommend other people watch it. But do know that there are going to be some questions after this, and I wish more people saw this movie so we could all have a great discussion about what we interpreted. Because there is a scene where divorced Alex and Vanessa are talking in the forest, and she asks him, well, how did you know that you were in like not the right universe? So we get this flashback scene of divorced Alex going into another house, lake house, because the lake house looks the same no matter what universe it is. And there's some tussling and bustling going around in the kitchen. And come to find out, Martel, the brother, comes running like he's, running away from a fight. And he runs past Alex and runs out the door. And then 2 seconds later, another Martel, same outfit, same haircut, same everything, runs past him and runs out the door. So we have two people, twins, essentially, clones, if you will, running past Alex. And he's like, well, what the heck is going on? And they run into the forest. And that's how Alex knew that he wasn't home. But we never get back to why there were two Martels running into the forest. Ever. We actually don't get anything directly about Martel.
I think I know why.
Please enlighten me.
I think all the Martels knew.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that Martel, a random Martel came in and tried to kill the Martel
OG
that lived
Martel.
there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
And then when he couldn't, was going to run off into the forest.
Yeah, so Alex sees the two Martels run into the forest, but he never brings it back up again. Like, he never says, I want to follow them. There's another scene where he says he went to another universe, realized it wasn't the one he was going to stay in, but he was seen by the people in the universe. So it's like, dude, you just popping up on universes and people seeing you when they know you don't exist. There's quit freaking people out. Like, popping into different universes. That's never really explained. Because if I saw myself, like we just said, if I saw myself driving my car down the street, I'm gonna be like, something ain't right here. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I'm screwed for life. For the rest of my life.
I would never be able to not think about it.
I would be freaked out. So the fact that he's like freaking people out in different universes.
I get freaked out when I see people who have the same make and model and color car that I have.
And you're like,
and that sticks in my
what
brain.
The heck?
So if I see myself, it's gonna affect me.
That was a plot hole. There was another scene where she does make it back home. Mm-hmm. So she eventually makes it back to her universe. And she has like things to check where she can see if this is actually my place. Mm-hmm. So she asks Alex, like, her and divorced Alex have this code number. She says the code number. Alex is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? Where have you been? We've been looking for you. And then she's like, well, what about Martel's hand? Like, is he okay? He's like, yeah, he's fine. He wrapped up his hand from his burn. It's the right hand, like the hand he actually got burned on. So she's like, cool, I'm finally back home in my universe. And then they mollywop her over the head with a wine bottle.
Right.
Take her to the shed. And we find out that Alex has killed the copy of Vanessa that we saw.
That she shot in the forest.
In the beginning of the movie. And we have no idea why.
Makes zero sense.
None.
I have a bunch of core issues with that moment.
Yes,
my main issue is, okay, so y'all killed her.
They killed Vanessa from the beginning.
Because the Vanessa that she shot in the woods.
Yes, in the leg. That's how we know it's that Vanessa.
Ended up stumbling into her universe.
Right.
And at some point, we don't know because she was not there. Stumbled into their universe, wounded.
Yep.
This person,
gunshot wound,
technically is your wife, different from a different universe, but technically is your wife.
Looks just like your wife.
Looks just like her.
Has the same clothes on.
Your wife left to go hiking.
Same hairstyle.
And then she comes back with a bullet wound in her leg. And his response was to finish her off and kill her. Because they don't explain how they figured out that she wasn't the same.
Yeah, they don't.
Person.
Right, because
they didn't even realize the multiverse theory was a possibility until
not
they
in the
run
main
into
universe.
Until they run into original Vanessa.
Correct.
And have her tied up to a chair. And then they're like, oh, she could be from the multiverse.
Yes.
So in their mind, according to this writing, it seems like they just killed Vanessa because she came home and she had the audacity to come home injured.
And dragged her body into a shed.
And then left her rotting corpse in the shed. And weren't going to do anything about it until another version of her
because
showed
she
up.
finds Alex sleep at the bar with an empty wine bottle. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what Martel is doing in the shed with the dead body.
Right.
No clue. They just whack her over the head, tie her up. And Alex is like, you can't be my wife because I killed you. And you like, why?
Why?
Why did you kill your wife?
Why would you kill your wife, murderer? What is your problem? And second, why are you just so cool with killing versions of your wife? Like, even if it's not your wife.
But how would he know it wasn't his wife?
Even so, how do you know she deserves to be shot in the face? Why are you going to kill every version of Vanessa that you encounter now?
Right.
Like, it doesn't...
She wouldn't want to go back to where she was from.
Every version of Vanessa... It would be different if every version of Vanessa was like was a divorced Alex and was trying to kill. But every version of Vanessa is just a lost black woman. Yeah. Why are you trying to shoot every single one that you come across? It doesn't make any sense.
That made no sense.
So, yeah, he was like so ready to kill. He already killed one Vanessa. And he was going to kill this Vanessa.
He was ready.
He didn't believe that she was his wife, even though she was.
Yeah.
But what was his end game? You're going to continue to kill all versions
your wives
of this innocent woman?
And only thing I can think of is that another version of I don't know. Only thing I can think of is off screen. He was asking Vanessa a question or something and she couldn't answer. And he was like, well, hold up. But he didn't believe the multiverse theory. It seemed like only Martell did, not Alex. So I don't know why Alex would have been like, oh yeah, this is my wife. Because I don't believe in this multiverse bullcrap.
That's why I think all the Martells knew. Is because it seems like all the Martells either experienced it themselves or all the Martells believed their dad about his multiverse theory. But yeah, I just had a real issue with Aldous Hodge killing the clone, the doppelganger
of his wife, and
had
no proof that it was not his wife.
And it seemed like he's just committed to killing every version of her that he comes across.
That came through,
because it just doesn't make sense why you like. And how many would he have run through before he would have been like, okay, maybe I should stop killing y'all?
Eventually, he would have left the lake house with no wife.
Yeah, and
I guess
eventually he just would have, because
they didn't live there.
Like they were looking. They didn't look for her.
No, when
they didn't look for her, because if they looked for her, they will also be lost.
Correct, you're right.
So she went missing. They stayed at the house. She showed up and they killed her, and they don't explain why they killed her.
She came back with a gunshot wound
because she came back shot.
And the scene actually gets worse. Because Martell and Alex fight because Alex trying to kill his wife.
Your brother-in-law has to stop you from killing your wife.
And he accidentally shoots out. So Martell accidentally kills Alex as they're tussling over the gun. So Alex is now dead. And then Martell obviously is like, you gotta go. Tells the OG Vanessa that he obviously doesn't realize is OG Vanessa. We don't know.
Because he said, I don't know who you are, but you don't belong.
Yeah, you don't belong here. So he walks her out of the lake house and then he shoots himself. So in Vanessa's original storyline at this point in the movie, her son is already gone. Her husband has been killed by her brother-in-law, and her brother-in-law kills himself.
Yes.
So she literally has nobody left in her original timeline. And that's when we get to the part where we get divorced Alex telling us what his actual plot is.
Yeah. So her universe
screwed.
Basically
done.
I mean, from an outside looking in, it looks like a murder-suicide. It looks like the brother came in, killed everybody, and then shot himself outside.
Sure. Or she did it.
Because, or
pick
she
your poison.
did it. Yeah.
I don't know. So she can't go, she can go back, but she goes back to nothing, and she might be wanted for murder.
So, divorced Alex does his body swap, blows his gate up, he's gone. His story is closed off. She continues to wander into the woods until she just luckily stumbles across a new universe that she has not been in before.
She makes it out into a new lake house.
So she gets to the lake house. It's daytime.
Yep.
Nobody's there. She takes a shower. She goes to bed.
Lays out.
She's apparently asleep for 18 hours.
13 hours.
13 hours.
Same difference.
She's asleep for
long time.
More than half a day.
Yes.
And she wakes up and Aldous Hodge is there.
Yep.
And Martell is there.
He sure is.
And
everybody's acting normal.
The Martell mostly that's there appears to be the Martell, the first doppelganger Martell that was drinking
at the beginning of the movie.
Because he's also drinking in this one.
He is. He's drinking in this one, and he says the same thing. She looks at him and was like, "What about your hand?" And he says, "Oh, it wasn't as bad as we thought," which is the same thing the one Martell said at the very beginning of the movie.
And they look each other with that knowing look like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not supposed to be here either.
It's me and I know who you are. So if you're here, something must have went real bad in your universe.
And that's why
neither one of them are the original Vanessa or Martell. Mm-hmm. But the only person who's the original in that universe is Alex.
Seems to be Alex.
Who has no idea what's going on.
No.
He suggests they go for a hike. Both Martell and Vanessa look at each other and say absolutely not. Because they're in the know.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes upstairs to go take her box of, because she assumes her son's dead.
Yeah, because it's an urn.
Because he's always dead.
I think it's his urn.
Well, no,
or his ashes.
It's a box of just his belongings.
Oh, you're right.
So she takes a box of his toys up to his room to place them.
Yeah.
And she sees his clothes in there. Mm-hmm. And then she hears a little boy call out for mommy. She turns around and her son is there. But we don't see it, but it cuts to black.
It's just a voice.
I hated that ending. Hated it.
I knew you were going to say that.
Hated it because and I didn't realize what the synopsis. I didn't read the plot synopsis of the movie before I watched it. Okay. I didn't realize what the plot synopsis said until you read it. But it completely contradicts that last sentence.
What was the last sentence?
Well, it's all one sentence, but it says
releasing her grief or trapping her forever.
Yeah, she never released her grief.
No, she didn't. The character did not at all.
She never released her grief. She never learned anything. And it's not like I thought the movie was going to show her going to different multiverses and seeing how her being stuck in that cycle of grief ruins her life in every one. So she has to learn to get over it.
Right. Especially her relationship with her husband is like tarnished.
But that's not what the movie was about at all. The movie was just about stumbling into parallel universes and things being different. And at the end, she just got
what she wanted.
At the end of the movie, she killed her husband.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't even mention the part where she divorced Alex's wife.
Oh, yeah. She runs into divorce. So before the end of the movie, she runs into divorce Alex's wife.
Because she's been found in the forest.
Mm-hmm. Who has her at gunpoint for some strange reason.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And is like, oh, I know who you are. You're another version of me. I know all about the multiverse.
Yeah, both of us can't exist at the same time.
Right. And she's like, yeah, well, you don't have to kill me because we can't go to the same place. You could just let me walk off into a different universe.
You go to where you go and I go where I want to go.
And the other girl just was like, I'd rather just murder you for the sake of plot.
Yeah. She says that she doesn't want to go back to her universe because she doesn't want to be with divorced Alex because she blames divorced Alex for pulling, their son dying because he, what do I want to call it? He basically did the DNR for the son.
Right.
So her and divorced Alex ain't never getting back together.
No.
I don't know whether he knew that, but she definitely knew that.
Right.
But as you said, she tries to kill our Vanessa.
None of the murders in this movie were valid.
Yeah, the only one you can really explain.
Divorced Alex because he's a murderer.
Well, that one.
But
sure, he had a point.
Yeah.
He was trying to be Thanos in that situation a little bit. In the accidental shooting of OG Alex by the brother, because that was a legit accident. Like Martell didn't mean to kill Alex. But yeah, so divorced Alex Vanessa tries to kill our Vanessa. That don't work the way she wanted to because our Vanessa ends up hitting and killing divorced Alex Vanessa with a rock. So
which is valid because this girl is
trying to kill you with a gun.
Trying to kill you.
Right. So what's interesting is that she basically does what divorced Alex tells her, which is find you somebody, kill them, and take their place. Which she technically half does.
Because she doesn't, we don't know what happened to that Vanessa.
True. So that's my other plot hole of the movie. So the universe she ends up in, I thought was going to be divorced Alex's world. Because
he left.
Right, because he left his, and his Vanessa was gone. So she could slide into some place where neither one of them were anymore.
Only person who would have been left in that universe would have been Martell.
But that's not what happened. She ends up in a universe that's got both of them already in it. So then it's like, well, where's the OG Vanessa from this universe?
We don't see her. Never... Maybe
is she gonna come back?
We're just supposed to assume she wandered off into the woods and got lost and never came back.
So,
but she also didn't blow the gate, so that correct. Vanessa or any other Vanessa could stumble into her.
Right, literally any Vanessa or any Alex or any Martell. Or Martell gonna take care of his. Like Martell, good. He know how this game works.
Yeah, Martell's in the know.
He knows. So yeah, things I would change about this movie is either make it longer to put more meat on the bones of the plot in the story, or just maybe give us a little exposition to explain what's not explained.
There are things you can leave ambiguous in movies that enhance the mystery. by not answering the questions.
But
but there are things that this was not one. This did not enhance the mystery. It kind of just
added more questions
that we didn't really ask. So why are you adding them? But
yeah,
I didn't like the fact that she's the villain for me. She's the villain because she should have told the truth from the very beginning. The reason her husband died and wanted to shoot her because she came off like a liar. Yeah. Because they had to find out about the doppelgangers from the
injured lady. Right.
Not Vanessa.
Right.
And then when she wanted to finally be like, oh, well, the truth is
she was in a different universe.
She's the one I saw. And it was, I saw a different version of myself. There's a multiverse. And they're like, we don't believe you because you've already put us in a situation where we've had to commit murder for some unknown reason.
And by the time she says that for the first time she says that, she ain't even in her own universe.
No.
So when she says it again in her universe, they're like,
you're super nuts.
This is crazy, right? And we just killed you, by the way.
She should have told the truth from the beginning. She should have ran back and been I ran into my clone.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here. But instead, she wanted to
go back.
She wanted to go back.
So I guess find her.
Back to the forest.
I guess to find her.
You want to go find
the person trying to snipe you?
You don't even know if this thing is human. It could be the thing. It could literally be the thing.
It could literally be supernatural.
And it could be trying to assimilate you, but you don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Or an alien.
And I just didn't like the fact that she basically ruined all these worlds. And she got her son at the end. Yeah. But not for any reason. She just happened to stumble into a universe.
She got lucky.
And I think the son's going to die.
And no matter what.
Yeah. Because Divorce Alex made the point of saying he either is dead.
Or he doesn't exist. Yeah.
So I think the son is just destined to die at some point. And I think in this universe, he just doesn't die yet.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Another plot line that starts but never gets finished is the dad and the experiments. So at the beginning of the movie, Martell says that they shut down some factory because of weird experiments. And then they also mention his dad being in learning about this theory and believing this theory and abandoning them. Mm-hmm. We don't get no more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, except Martell says at some point of the movie, Dad was right. And we don't know what the heck he's talking about.
They also plant a seed of a facility that was around that had been running some type of scientific operations that was shut down that were weird and otherworldly. They never mentioned it again. So we don't even know if that had anything to do with this.
None.
We don't know if the dad worked at the facility.
Right, or the forest was just supernatural.
Or the forest was just weird and magical.
Or if the facility was making clones and the dad knew.
Or if the facility was experimenting with gateways to different universes.
I was going to say, but how does the facility and the multiverse theory enter? We don't know.
You would think if they did that, they would section off part of the forest.
There was gates. Remember, she kind of had to go through
a chain gate. You would think there would be more things.
Actually, that chain gate doesn't connect anything.
Even if they shut down the facility and stopped the experiments, they would have known that they left multiverse portals in the middle of the forest.
Right.
So you would think it would still be a military operated zone.
That's true.
Like a quarantine zone of some sort.
That's true.
Like in Stranger Things, when they opened up that giant portal underground to the under. It was still a military controlled area.
Yes. There were hazard signs at least.
Yeah, they at least had armed guards telling people to turn around.
Some flashy lights, turn around.
Yes, I the ending I just kind of felt like, oh, so she doesn't really release any grief.
No. She didn't get trapped either, technically.
Yeah, she was grieving and in the pits, and then she just blew up her old life and hit factory reset, basically.
I will say, I like that. I didn't think that was going to be the ending. I didn't think she would find a universe with her son. But I do like the fact that her original universe was so jacked up that she couldn't go back.
Yeah, I like that element.
That element was different. Because the cookie cutter ending would have been she ended up back home and everything worked out.
That's kind of how it ended.
What in her same universe, excuse me. And she actually got a bonus in a different universe with her son still being alive.
And she's way too cool. She was way too cool with being like, okay, I'll just live here. This is not your Alex. The guy that you make all your memories, life, they're dead.
Yeah, and my question was, at some point, she's gonna have to be asked to recall some memory that she doesn't have because she's not the original Vanessa of this universe.
Or she's going to slip up and mention a memory they don't have.
Or that.
Because she's not part of this universe.
Martell gonna know, though.
Or the son, I think, is eventually going to die in a car accident. Like he always
and just start
does.
The cycle
and
over.
Where does that put her? Back to grieving.
I think the fact that the movie has, I don't know. It's like, I like the fact that the movie has generated conversation, but I don't like the fact that not enough people have seen this movie, so we can have this conversation with anybody else.
My main issue was that, like I mentioned yesterday, because I knew you were looking.
I was.
There were so many plot holes, but not enough people have seen the movie to have a discussion. So we have to just sit with our plot holes that we can't like.
And this is actually based off another movie, a Chinese movie called Parallel Forests, which also apparently not a lot of people have seen.
No.
So I couldn't even find the plot and the ending for that movie.
No. The plot isn't even on Wiki. This is the first time we have to do a movie review just like without the extra notes that can keep us going.
We are stuck in our own parallel forest trying to do the plot for this movie.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be able to ever have a conversation and get anybody's thoughts and opinions.
Go watch this movie, guys, so we can discuss.
Yes.
We can have like a segment on the show. Like we have other people who have seen this movie and could talk about it now.
Even though I do not like the characters in the movie, I do like the movie.
I think it's worth the watch.
I like the plot and I like the mystery.
Yes.
That all of the elements are there. It's just the character choice, and the acting is great.
Yeah.
The character choices that they make them, the things they make them do.
Didn't like.
And that could be subjective. Some people, I looked online and saw some people on Twitter who have seen it, and it's got a 84% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, pretty good.
So people have seen it. People do like it.
Yeah.
So people like this stuff that I mentioned don't bother as many people as it bothers me. I also have issues with like the characters in The Thing, but people say that the characters in The Thing are like the smartest characters in horror. I don't see that. But I just had issues with their choices. But
that's funny.
People should still see this movie. Yeah.
So let's do favorite line or scene. Do we have one?
I don't remember the line verbatim, but my favorite scene is when she realizes divorce Alex's plan.
Okay.
And she tells him that that's why his wife left him. Because he's selfish. Because he selfishly pulled the plug on their son without consulting her. And he is selfishly out there willing to kill any version of himself that he can easily slip into the life of just to serve himself.
She called him out in that scene.
Because she was like, you're a murderer. And that's just where you are when you boil it down.
I like the scene where divorced Alex and her make it into the universe where we didn't mention this one, where Martell was actually the one who was in an accident with the family and they were dead.
And she was pregnant. So
and she was pregnant.
He killed Alex, Vanessa.
He killed the whole family off.
Unborn Obi all at once.
Yes. And the scene is the only kind of comic relief in the scene because he's like, what are y'all doing here? And they're like, oh, we're just getting some fishing wire. And he's like, to do what? Alex is like, to fish?
She's like, you don't like fishing.
And he's like, you don't like fishing. And then
and Vanessa goes, oh, it was my idea.
Right. But Martell is tripping because he's like, both of y'all are dead.
He's like, I buried both of y'all.
Like, what are y'all doing here? And he thinks they are ghosts.
But he also says, you said you would leave me alone and you keep visiting me, which means he keeps encountering versions of them coming out of the forest.
Oh, you're right. So that scene just, because you don't realize what Martell is getting at until he's like, I buried both of y'all. Yeah. You're like, oh, snap. They dead in this universe? I buried
both of y'all. And he said, every time y'all come back and you say you won't bother me again.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what happened? He says, you never remember.
Yeah.
So over and over again, he's run into versions of them who have come out of the forest.
And this Martell is also
his version.
An alcoholic.
Right.
So he probably thinks he's seeing ghosts and just drunk.
So they wander off into the forest and he lets them because he just thinks that they're ghosts.
Right. That was probably my favorite scene because you don't even bother try to keep track of all the different universes you pass in, but each one kind of has like a memorable moment that happens in it where you're like, oh snap, they in some different place. Yeah, I think that would be my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Final words about the movie and our rating. Worth the theater, just the movie. Oh, actually, we have our Nicole Kidmans.
Yeah.
So, final words about the movie and then do your Nicole Kidman.
I give this 3 Nicole Kidmans.
Okay.
I do.
I'm going to say 3 and a half.
Yeah.
I'll do 3.5.
Okay. I'm going to do 3 because of the characters were a little frustrating.
Okay.
And the plot holes.
Plot holes would be one whole popcorn, and the other half of popcorn would be because I actually wish it were longer. Yeah. I wanted more from the movie.
If it was longer and they
fleshed some stuff out.
We need the Hodge cut.
There we go. We need the Hodge brother cut.
I need the director's cut that actually like fleshes out on some of the plot holes. I feel like if they the big selling point about watching this was that it was an hour and a half.
That it was a black sci-fi movie. That was a big selling point.
It's a black sci-fi, and it's not trying to take all of my day.
Right.
I would have given it.
Right.
I would have stretched it from an hour and a half to an hour and
45. Okay.
15 minutes could have sealed up a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's why I have to remove 2 Nicole Kidmans.
Okay. Fair enough. I would say give it a watch. It's on Amazon Prime. I think we rented it for like $6. Mm-hmm. It's an hour and a half, hour and 28.
Yeah.
I would say give it a watch.
It doesn't take long. They immediately roll into.
Yes. Pacing is good.
Getting weird.
Pacing is good. So that is our movie review for Parallel. Please go watch it so we can discuss it. That would be my ask of you.
Yes, please watch it.
Listeners. So give us some comments, some email, DM, something.
Tell us your theories. Maybe you guys got something different from some of the scenes like we did. Like it took me a while to realize that I think all the Martells knew, but maybe all the Martells didn't.
I think
I feel like all the Martells
I'm still stunned by the fact that the 2 Martells ran.
And the Martells might be my favorite characters because they all just seem
off. The last Martell, when they do the look and you can tell that Martell and Vanessa know the deal, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, the last Martell.
It gave a little sinister.
Just because touch. It's like both of you are killers. That's the only way y'all are both here. It's because you're both murderers.
Yeah,
definitely Martell.
More. I think wanting more from a movie is a good sign. So I'm gonna say give it a watch so you can discuss and have some chatter. If anything, it's gonna have discussion for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So that is our movie review of the week for Parallel. What are we doing next week?
Damn. So maybe.
Sure.
Okay. There's nothing coming out in the theaters next week. After next week, we are going to be on a roll, like for movie releases coming out in theaters. So I think Damsel will be good. I still want to see it.
It looks good.
You said it wasn't getting like good reception.
It's not getting good reviews, but like
from critics or from audience?
From both. But what I will say is that I, like I said commonly on this show, enjoy bad films.
Entertaining bad films. You can't just be flat out bad. So I'm looking at
Jurassic Park 3 is not a good film, but it's entertaining.
Which 3?
Jurassic Park 3.
Oh.
With the son lost on an island.
We gonna disagree.
Not a good film, but it's only entertaining because it's
the dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs make anything entertaining.
Fair.
Geostorm wasn't a good movie, but give me any movie with weather catastrophes.
And I like a good disaster movie.
Moonfall was a piece of loud garbage.
But Moonfall was
so fun.
Woo, it was watch. It got real kooky at the end.
As long as Damsel is fun, it doesn't have to be like a good movie.
Preview for Damsel: 49% critic score, 77% audience score, hour and 47 minutes.
That's nice.
Hey,
that's nice.
We ready. All right. So thanks for listening. If you like our show, please give it a share. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on our website, vaguelynerdypodcast.com, where you can also leave us a nice voice message that we can play on the show. You can follow us on Twitter at vaguelynerdypod or IG at Vaguely Nerdy Podcast. But you can reach us at gmail at vaguelynerdypodcast.com. Until next week.
Bye.
Peace.